Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2024, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 76 years of independence and United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030. As part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Art, Sciences and Health. Today, we are commemorating various events. So before we get into that, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शत्रुबुद्धिविनाशाय दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते दीपज्योतिर्नमोऽस्तुते शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः शुभं कुरुत्वं कल्याणम् आरोग्यं धनसम्पदः
Today, we are commemorating International Day of Tropics. The International Day of Tropics celebrates the extraordinary diversity of the tropics while highlighting unique challenges and opportunities nations of the tropics face. It provides an opportunity to take stock of progress across the tropics, to share tropical stories and expertise, and to acknowledge the diversity of potential of the region. The tropics are a region on the earth roughly defined as area between the Tropic of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn. Although topography and other factors can contribute to climate variation, tropical locations are typically warm and experience little sensational change in day-to-day temperature. Any important feature of tropics is the prevalence of rain in the most inner regions near the equator, and that is, seasonality of rainfall increases with the distance from the equator. The tropical region faces several challenges such as climate, deforestation, logging, urbanization, and demographic changes. The tropics host nearly 95% of the world's mangrove forests by area and 99% of mangrove species. The tropics have just over half of the world's renewable resources, 54%, yet almost their population is considered valuable to water stress. Biodiversity is greater in the tropics, however, loss of biodiversity is also greater in the tropics than in the rest of the world. The human system, tropical nations have made significant progress but face a variety of challenges that demand focused attention across a range of development indicators and data in order to achieve sustainable development. By 2050, the region will host most of the world's people and two-thirds of its children, consistent with the higher levels of poverty. More people experience undernourishment in tropics than in the rest of the world. The proportion of the urban population living in slum conditions is higher in the tropics than in the rest of the world. The inaugural State of the Tropics report was launched on 29 June 2014 as a culmination of collaboration between 12 leading tropical research institutions. The report offers a unique perspective on the increasingly important region. Marking the anniversary of the report's launch, the United Nations General Assembly adopted Resolution 70 by 267 in 2016, which declared that 29 June of each year is to be observed as the International Day of the Tropics. The International Day of the Tropics was designated to raise awareness to the specific challenges and faced by tropical areas, far-reaching implications of the issues affecting and world's tropical zone and need at all levels to raise awareness and to underline the important role that countries in the tropics will play achieving the sustainable development goals. So, neglected tropical diseases are a diverse group of conditions that are mainly prevalent in tropical areas where they mostly impoverish communication and disproportionately affect women and children. These diseases causing devastating health and social economic consequences to more than 1 billion people get to know World Health Plan to end this preventable burden by 2030, protecting the forest of the Colombian Amazon while improving the living conditions of the communities that inhabit them is the mission of the Guardians of Amazon, specifically devoted to empowering indigenous women, not only participate in but become leaders of conservation and governance in collective territories. Guardians of the Amazon are supported by the Global Environment Facility Small Grants Program.
The world's tropical region has long captivated the imagination of outsiders. Ancient philosophers imagined it as an inhospitable region of oppressive heat and pestilence. Early European explorers saw it as ripe for discovery and exploitation. Scientists have long worked to uncover its secrets. Artists have been inspired by it, and it has been idealised as a paradise. And the tropics have been largely defined by the views of outsiders, views that have often shaped policies and approaches to the region that have not always been appropriate or beneficial. People have, of course, lived and thrived in the tropics for millennia. Many people continue to live on their traditional lands, working to adapt their traditional ways to meet the challenges of a rapidly changing world, even as economic powerhouses have emerged elsewhere in the tropics. The global importance of the region is growing rapidly. By the end of the century, it will be home to many of the world's largest economies. It will also be home to most of the world's people. By 2040, the population of the world's tropical region will have exceeded that of the rest of the world. But perhaps more significantly, the region will be home to more than 2/3 of the world's children. For many tropical nations, this population dividend will present significant challenges, but also enormous opportunities.
Because most of the world's children will live in the tropics by 2050, we must rethink the world's priorities on aid, development, research and education.
Population and economic growth mean the region's influence is set to rise dramatically in coming decades. But the nature of this influence will depend on how the region addresses its many challenges and whether it realises its potential and opportunities.
We need a kind of a critical awareness that the tropics is the region of the world that matters most in terms of both the health of the planet, planetary health, and also the fate of humanity.
Of course, the region is not without its challenges. The resources to sustain growing populations and development are putting significant and increasing pressure on the natural environment. Poverty remains prevalent in many areas. Many nations suffer from poor health and educational outcomes, and in some cases, political and economic instability are major constraints. Despite marked improvements, significant investment in infrastructure, governance and human capacity is still required in many nations to meet the basic needs of communities and to help economies develop and flourish. When Aung San Suu Kyi launched the landmark State of the Tropics report in 2014, a new global dynamic was revealed. Arguably, the future belongs to the tropics. Decisions made now and the pathways that tropical nations take will affect the course of economics, development and the environment on a global scale for a long time to come.
Today is also commemorated as Hug Holiday in US. Hugging is a simple way to express many different types of affection, from friendly to intimate. To familial, it's an action largely limited to primates, while we find instances of other animals in positions that resemble hugging. There aren't any other species that do it so frequently for so many reasons and in so many ways. Hugging sets us apart from the rest of the animal kingdom. It's not just a differentiator. Through studies show that hugging releases oxytocin, known as the cuddle hormone, which can help to strengthen social bonds. So on June 29, we celebrate Hug Holiday. You have seen the videos where a free hug campaign, some random person standing along a crowded sidewalk with free hug sign. Passerbys are initially skeptical, but eventually they cave. Everyone wants a free hug. You don't have to fill your endeavor to collect the free oxytocin. For some of us, hugs are part of everyday life, but others, they can be few and far between. If you have noticed that one of our friends could use a hug, they are likely to appreciate the offer. And again, it depends on culture to culture. In some cultures, hugging may be appropriate, but in some cultures, it may not. So, different cultures have different practices. So, even cultures where hugging is normally practiced, people may not be comfortable with hugging. So, again, we need to see the signs of welcoming or avoiding, and appropriately, we need to move forward. If you have noticed, so everyone has different comfort zones. So if you have noticed that one of your friends could use a hug, they are likely to appreciate offer. But consider asking first, though everyone has different comfort zones. Sometimes life gets so busy that we forget our basic needs. It might seem like overkill, but scheduling hugs with a person you can love can be an effective way to make sure that you are getting your hugs in. The literal part is obvious. You can't be far away if you are locked in a hug. But as noted in the hug day description, hugging releases oxytocin into your bodies, which help to strengthen social bonds. It also brings the warm, fuzzy feelings that come after a hug, and who doesn't want more of that? A study published by Psychological Science found that lots of hugging lead to less severe symptoms. In everyday terms, that means that folks with plenty of hugs in their lives get struck, and they get less struck than people without hugs. It's not often that you find something that fends off illness and brings us closer to the people we love. But when it's free, get your hug on. Today, they are also commemorated as Internal Autonomy Day, which is observed every year in French Polynesia. It honors Tahitian and French Polynesian self-rule. Additionally, marks the annexation of the Kingdom of Tahiti and handover of controls to France by King Pomeri V. While many political parties celebrate the day with festivities, some also believe it should be a day of mourning instead. Nonetheless, celebrations happen mainly in the national capital of Papeete and include parades, entertainment, and concerts. The actual date, French Polynesia achieved internal autonomy, was on September 6, 1980. International Fishermen's Day is also celebrated on June 29th. It's a unique festival, recognizes and integrates efforts of fishermen around the world. Fishing has been a valuable source of food and trading from time immemorial. Fishermen all over the world are incredibly important to the food chain, since the fish they catch are major sources of nutrition for the inhabitants of the nation and the entire globe. In terms of exportation, fishing is a prehistoric activity that has been associated with mankind since its inception. Although the activity dates back 40,000 years, there is hardly any corner of the planet where fishermen are not present carrying out their duty. For the brave, fishing is a thrilling and adventurous sport. International Fishermen's Day is observed by thousands of people throughout the world as a way of celebrating the men and women who work in the fishing industry. The day is observed by a variety of celebrations with fish serving as main entry. Fishermen launch into the deep to gather large catches on International Fishermen Day, which is celebrated with fanfare. International Fisherman's Day is an annual day of activities organized by the Fisherman's Day Committee in various nations around the world to promote the improvement and preservation of the fishing industry by celebrating the contributions of diverse fishermen. Furthermore, this day is set aside to strengthen reliable connections between fishing communities, vendors, processors, governments, and non-government agencies, and different stakeholders towards building a profitable and sustainable fishing sector. Many people all around the world, such as buyers, large fish companies, local folks, and fishermen, look forward to this day and June 29th as a special time to team up and network to sell, buy, and appreciate everyone's effort to make fishing industry a remarkably sustainable one. Man invents the most popular method of catching fish, the invention of flying in 2000 BC. The commencement of fish farming in small ponds takes place in 1000 AD. Treatise of Fishage with an Angle, the earliest English essay on recreational fishing by Dame Juliana Bernas is published in 1496. The organization of the biggest competitive fishing event debates in Lake Mead near Las Vegas. Today is also commemorated as International Mud Day. International Mud Day is an exciting date not only to play and have fun with mud, but to raise awareness about cleanliness and access to sanitation in different parts of the world. International Mud Day strives to bring children from all over the world together through the ground by allowing them to play in the mud. Children and early childhood professionals all over the world celebrate International Mud Day by getting really muddy and observing nature and the outdoor and mess. At the World Forum for Early Childhood Care and Education, members of the Nature Action Collaborative for Children, Gillian McAuliffe and Vishnu Bhatta got together to talk about the differences in playing with mud between their countries, Australia and Nepal, respectively. The issue with Gillian's region in Australia was lack of mud, since it's a very sandy place. However, Vishnu's problem wasn't the amount of mud, but the lack of clothes and even soap to wash. When Gillian mentioned this issue to children from her community, they all got together and started a campaign to raise money and send it to kids in Nepal so that they can afford the clothes and soap. So soon enough, the Australian kids were able to raise $1,000 and Vishnu was able to organize an event for the Nepali children of the Panchkal orphanage. Not only did they get to play in the mud, but they are also were able to have their first meal in the 5 months. Ever since then, every year, both groups get together in their own countries to play in the mud. In 2013, 6 families from Australia even traveled to Nepal to participate in the celebration. These families have helped fund the renovations of the orphanage from Holland to Nepal to the US. The resulting partnership has motivated educators, children, and families to commemorate International Mud Day every year on June 29. So we all look same on the Muddy Day regardless of age, color, or religion. Throughout the years, new resources have been published to help educators from all around the world celebrate International Mud Day and help their students connect with nature and understand differences between their relationship with mud and other peoples. So you can collect a mud bath. You can collect a large amount of mud from your garden, mix it with water, use it, fill a giant inflatable pool. It was a wonderful way to reconnect with nature and also beneficial to your skin. You do not have to go to beach to make castles. You can do that with mud and even create an entire city in your backyard. Set out a bucket of mud with some spoons as well as styrofoam. Produce trays and muffin tins for your guests. Making and decorating wedding cakes, birthday cakes, cupcakes, and muffins will be the blast for them. Mud has been part of humanity over 30,000 years. If you have ever seen pigs, elephants, and rhinos laughing in mud, it's probably because it helps lower your body temperature. It is a scientific fact that playing in mud makes you happier. One species of wasps and even snakes make their homes out of mud. Mud was used by ancient Egyptians. It is still used in same regions of Asia, Africa, built to walls of houses and other constructions. What's better used to go to play in or with your mud than an international day? Just do so. Adults and children alike can use this day as an opportunity to get muddy. So International Mud Day is a great day to reflect on the sanitary conditions of different communities around the globe. So have fun and also pass this important message. Numerous studies have proven that coming into contact with a certain amount of bacteria and the mud is beneficial to human health. This is because it helps in the development of immunity as opposed to living in a nearly sterile environment, which leaves our body vulnerable. So with this, we shall end today's commemorations. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we apologize for the delay due to some technical issue. So we thank each and everyone for joining us, and we request everyone to quickly fill the feedback form before leaving the platform. So see you all tomorrow with the same link at the same time, 6 p.m. for different commemorations. Take care. Good night.